Welcome to Spoilers Intended, a podcast about series and films. My name is Andrew. This week I am joined by Ryan.
Hi.
And Steven.
You say that like it's going to be different next week.
It could be
Am I
different.
we never know. Steven, this is your notice.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Steven. We have to have a talk.
Legally, we have to do it on air.
That's not how that works at all.
So we can document it. We don't have paper here.
No, that's how it was in his contract whenever he first signed it. Did you not sign a contract?
I didn't sign anything
There are
except
no
for your
contracts
bathroom
here.
wall.
Ryan, we need to have a talk.
No.
So this is an unscripted episode, and
Can you tell?
Can you tell?
we are discussing some of our favorite soundtracks, or just
Movie and TV songs.
movie and TV
Yeah.
series, specific tracks from. We're not going to listen to the whole.
Oh, man, I didn't even think about TV series.
What?
Yeah.
How did you not?
I was just doing movies.
I didn't
Ryan, we
pick
need to
any.
have a talk.
I didn't actually pick any for this.
Okay, good. I don't feel as bad.
But there were I definitely thought about G-Witch.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
Because, that outro.
outro.
so right now, actually, you can go and listen to. We did a whole episode or bonus episode on Patreon, just $1. You can sign up right now. I don't care. And
But we do care.
We do
absolutely
care. Yeah.
Yes.
But we basically did a whole episode of where we did a game show to where Steven and Ryan attempted. Very poorly, by the way.
Yeah,
We started strong.
You started strong, then you tapered.
It was definitely
Yeah.
he was like, all right, that was the easy round. We were both like, that was easy. And then it got way worse from there.
Yeah, we did a whole game show of them guessing movie soundtracks and movie soundtracks basically throughout almost like 80 years.
Totally
worth of
not
time,
from
yeah.
musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one time.
I was lied to.
But yeah, so I think music and soundtracks are some of the most important parts of modern media, period. There's a reason why silent films weren't actually silent. They had to have
I thought
music.
you were about to say why they sucked.
There's a reason why silent films went the way of the dodo.
Well, no, I mean, like you have to have music
They had a
to
piano
to
player
help
playing accompaniment.
Yeah, you need to have music to explain the emotions and help carry that over to your audience whenever you're doing it. So I think music's honestly really important. And I know that I'm definitely the one that listens to the most music in this room, but then also definitely musical soundtracks.
Man, that was pretty rude. That was a pretty rude assumption with Ryan sitting over there.
No, he's probably right.
Well, I work from home and I listen
I
to
was going
music
to say,
all
you
day.
listen to music all day.
That's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
I listen to music in like pockets and
Yeah,
windows at a time.
But yeah, so I kind of really wanted to just go do a quick round, not really quick, but a round table of just some of our favorite tracks. They don't have to be like the top 5 that you've ever
Yeah,
done, because I
just
honestly
some
think
favorites.
that is impossible to do.
Well,
It depends on your mood.
So
Yeah.
subjective. Yeah, there's a lot of these going through my list of like, well, what would I add to this? It's like, well, that's when I feel this way. This is what I want to hear.
Exactly.
When I feel that. So I tried to kind of do a shotgun approach.
Yeah,
of,
I have a little bit
this
of a
is-
smattering
This is
in
my.
here.
It's time. It's a good cry song. It's a good upbeat song. It's good whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're just going to go round robin, and we're going to play basically, I'll say 30 seconds to a minute long clips of these.
We can,
and
we can only play so much, or we're going to get in trouble with.
We're still going to get demonetized for this one anyways. It's fine.
Yeah.
demonetized.
We're not
Gotta
even
be
monetized.
monetized.
We got to get monetized first, guys. Are y'all getting cash? We need to talk.
Ryan,
You guys are
we
getting
need to have it.
You guys are getting paid.
Why are you wearing such fancy clothes?
Do you see my microphone over here?
Why is mine in cardboard? I don't understand.
Why is the Patreon money? Oh God!
But yeah,
Anyways.
so what I'm going to do is whenever I do my tracks, I'm going to set the scene, and then you can you can listen in. And if we want to talk over it, that's fine. But you ain't just listen to 40 seconds of a track, and then we're going to pick back and talk again. So it's fine either way.
All right, let's rip one.
Yeah, so here's the scene. You are traveling in an underground mountain cave thing,
Okay.
The Hobbit.
being chased by a very scraggly being.
Minecart.
And this is
Indiana
this
Jones
is the
Temple of Doom.
first time you've ever seen something so wonderful.
Wow. Tell me when you press play.
I'm good. I hit play. And this is my favorite movement of any Howard Shore piece.
What is the scraggly thing that's chasing me?
Gollum. It's Gollum.
I told you it was the Hobbit.
It's not that. It's Fellowship of the Ring.
So the Hobbit's chasing him out of the...
He technically was, kind of.
the layers.
But the build up to this is just so cool whenever they go into the big Great Hall the first time.
This is Mines of Moria.
Yes.
This is not being chased by a scraggly thing.
Well, I mean, like,
There's about to be
following them.
There is about to be a Balrog. That is not a scraggly thing.
It's shadow, thing.
Shadow and flame.
All right, I'm good.
Yeah, a little swell right there. Just
Well, so the thing I really like about this track specifically is it's kind of in between three of like the really massive tracks of this soundtrack, which you have Ringo South, which is like essentially the main theme. Then you have Bridge of Khazad-dûm, which is like kind of like the big battle theme that happens after this when they're running from the Balrog and all the goblins and whatnot.
Yeah.
And this one always gets overlooked because it's such a very short piece.
It hits real quick.
Yeah, it hits real quick, but every time whenever, Gandalf is in the movies kind of like we can risk a little bit more light, it opens up
the big cavern.
Yeah. Man, like every single time I always get like really emotional about it just because like this is the first time that pretty much everyone except for Gandalf has seen this.
Right.
Including the audience. You as the audience are also a first-time journey here.
And it's such a moving moment for me every single time I listen to it. And
so what is it about the track that you like so much? Is it
I really love the buildup of it because it kind of like it kind of crescendos a little bit and then it kind of like goes back and then kind of builds up.
It's very much so an ebbing wave that is building strength with the swell.
Yeah.
Like it starts to swell, then it fades off, and then it comes back stronger and swells again.
Yeah.
And then when that
male choir like comes in right towards the end, they're like,
and it has such a big moment, right at the end with the kind of the horns coming in. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it sets the stage for like that part of the movie. Like,
it does.
You're right that like that. I saw there's a YouTube channel that like they take basically famous scenes and they put different music in it.
Oh god!
And sometimes it's like
sometimes it probably works.
Sometimes they take bad movies and they put like good music in it. And you're like, wow, that would have made that scene so much better.
And that's the thing is, and I have a kind of a standing thing whenever I think bad movies have bad music, or movies that people don't look fondly on have poor music choices, and the movies that are lifted up by music turn into good ones. And like if you have an amazing soundtrack, people are going to look on that fondly because whenever they hear the music, they're going to go back to those moments, even if they weren't the most perfect cinematic moments that exist or like the best directing or animation or whatever, you still have that emotional connection to that series or TV show or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. So someone else go.
You want me to go? You want to go?
No, I'm going to dovetail with this nicely.
Okay. Go for it.
So we'll,
lay down your sweet and weary head.
Is this Mary?
No. I think I know what this is.
You've come to journey's end.
I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, you're wrong, Ryan.
I'm thinking of something way different.
Man, I haven't heard this in a long time.
Dream of the ones who came before. They are calling from across the distant shore.
All right, so could y'all tell me what that is? I'm real disappointed in Andrew.
It's been a long time since I've heard that.
I have heard this, but I couldn't tell you what it is.
Okay, so that is Into the West.
Yeah.
By Annie Lennox. So that is the credit scene of Lord of the Rings Return of the King.
Yeah, that's where like I knew it was Lord of the Rings, but it was definitely one of those where like
it's not in the film, but it's
the credits.
It's the cap of the entire trilogy. And I love it because it's such honestly a melancholy song. Because in a lot of ways, like you are like Frodo, where you have burned out everything you are, and now you're laying down your weary head. Like this is the end at the time that we knew before The Hobbit was announced.
You know,
prequel anyways doesn't count.
No, but I mean, like it's kind of the romance of that is whenever you've hit the end of this trilogy of films that are honestly some of the best ever made, and you just kind of like, I mean, it is a melancholy song, but it's bittersweet.
Well, melancholy is bittersweet.
Yeah.
But it's the final just breath that you finally let go at the end. To just you're like, I can relax. It's over. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm glad it happened, kind of thing.
Well, and also,
I love that song.
It's the only of the three that have any vocals in the credits music, correct? Does the first and second one have?
Be was the carryover into the credits for Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, okay.
Which that happens at the end of Breaking the Fellowship. But the second one, I don't think it had any vocals for that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like music on the second one. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember because I mean most of the music in Lord of the Rings is not. There are no lyrics. You have like what Gollum's song is the only one I can come up with off the top of my head.
Well, so you have May It Be, which was that one. Then you had
what's the one that?
Where
he sings to the dude eating the
Denethor's eating the tomato.
Cherry tomatoes.
Man, like every time he bites into it and like it just like it spurts out, and you're just like, oh.
It does make me crave tomatoes too, though. I really like tomatoes. And
Can
I'm
you
like,
imagine
oh man,
like that perfect tomato? You're just so juicy.
Oh, I
so
like the
ripe.
Denethor every now and then.
All right, Ryan, what you got?
Okay, I'll play one. I wasn't prepared to set the scene like Andrew did, but I can.
I have one for every single
I
one.
didn't set the scene. I should have. I will next time.
Next time.
I'll do better.
Okay. Imagine that the fate of an entire planet and an entire civilization rest on your shoulders.
Interesting. Dragon Ball Z?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This build up.
Just love those horns, man.
Oh yeah. Ma, ma, ma.
You can see Ryan's face right now.
He's so happy.
The Planet Krypton by John Williams from Superman the movie.
Hey, I was right. It's just Western Goku.
It is, yes. So I remember as a kid, obviously the Superman, the main theme song would get me so pumped, right?
Yeah.
But I was probably 3 going on 4, and I had these Superman onesie pajamas that had this little Velcro cape that you could take on or off, right? It's got the footies,
Oh yeah,
the booties.
you all had those. Come on, everybody had those. Don't lie.
When we would watch Superman, I would put these on because I'm like, well, I got to be in costume. And I remember as a kid, not fully understanding music and stuff like that, but when they would start to go to the planet Krypton, and they would start with Marlon Brando and like the whole like backstory of Krypton, because that's where this hits in the movie.
Yeah,
like that sound of the build just made me feel heroic, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is what it's like to be Superman."
A good fanfare of horns, and you're just like, "Oh, I can go through that brick wall."
So it's kind of funny. I have like a whole like epic soundtrack playlist that has like thousands of songs in it.
Yeah,
and I kid you not, I hear the Superman soundtrack from the motion picture a lot, but the one track that I hear all the time is the Destruction of Krypton. Every time I hear it, I'm like, Destruction of Krypton. And I'm like, I don't know why it just keeps popping up on the shuffle.
Spotify weights your playlist, and if you listen to something a couple of times, like, he likes this, it should come up more. And then you listen to it more, and they're like, he likes this, you should play it more.
You're doing that smart shuffle. You got to be true random.
Spotify has had terrible true shuffle for a very long time. It's awful.
Miserable.
Yeah, it's just the worst.
Anyways, that's always one of my favorite tracks because
it's
like
fantastic.
It just
little John
the
Williams.
horns and the building, and when the orchestra, and for me it's the dynamics. It starts off because I played it about 30 seconds in right there.
Yeah,
it starts off just barely anything. You have to listen. Like, is there anything
real
playing?
silent,
and it just goes all the way up to that full crescendo, and then it comes all the way back down for like 6 more minutes. It does like 6 minutes of just like real low key stuff.
I kind of like those kind of tracks because Last Samurai has a couple tracks like that really build up, and then they chill out for like another like 2 or 3 minutes. That is still really beautiful, but it's not like the main part of it. Which most of the time they're always backloaded to where you have like the big emotional moments at the end.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me pull up my next one.
Yeah. You're supposed to already be ready.
Oh, I was doing that, but then I had to talk. So
amateurs, I tell you, surrounded by amateurs.
Surrounded.
So imagine.
Oh, there's the scene.
Yeah. So imagine that you are a pilot of a very giant robot.
Okay.
And you are doing your best to save the one you love.
Yeah.
At the expense of humanity.
This is just a Tuesday for me.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So this is very different from what we've already been listening to.
Okay.
The piano, Shinji.
But yeah, so this is a track from Evangelion 2.0. So essentially the second movie of the Rebuild films that came out after he did the whole series.
He's got to get you a flow chart for this one.
For non-Evangelion fans, what that means is
so you can technically watch the first 1.1 and 2.0 basically without having to watch the series.
Because it's edgy and new.
Where's the decimal come from?
But so the thing I love about this track is, one, it's an absolute banger, but two, it hits at the pretty much the emotional climax of the whole franchise, because this is kind of the turning point for Shinji, our main character, whenever he has decided that humanity doesn't matter anymore. He has to save Rei, which is basically a girl that got absorbed into this other monster that he's trying to destroy.
Sure, as one is wanted.
Yeah, that's just how it works.
This is just how anime works.
But the thing that's really cool about it is, one, the visuals are absolutely stunning while this is happening, but the other main character is basically like cheering him on to do this, where at this point, like, she's just like, I don't care anymore, just save the girl. And essentially what it does is it ends up destroying like another like third of humanity because of this. And this is definitely one of those moments in the film where, especially the franchise itself, where like you haven't really seen this kind of level of action yet from our main character or like really anything else. So this is one of those really big moments. And the fun fact is, my wife and I got married to the song that came after this song in the movie.
I thought you were about to say this song. I was like, that's intense.
Come down the aisle.
You were there. But yeah, it's there's just something about this, and I like, whenever I was trying to pick these, I always came back to songs that I just always go back to whenever it like pops up on a playlist. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hit repeat on this one just so I can listen to it again. Yeah. And of course, you know, they're never long enough. This is only a 2-minute and 42-second track, and which is just the length of the scene. Yeah. Which happens a lot in anime. It doesn't matter though.
That moment lives forever in your mind.
It really does.
And stretches with time.
Yeah. To me, the thing too that's interesting about it is that, like, I have not seen the Rebuild movies that much. Like, I've seen them probably one time each.
I think you watched them with me.
I watched them with you when they first came out. Yeah. But I think I may have rewatched them before the last one came out. Yeah. So I've seen them twice. But like, when I heard that, I immediately recognized it as Evangelion. So like, to me, it's similar enough to the music from the show. Yeah. That it obviously, you know what I mean? Like, it has the same.
I mean, I'm just disappointed that he pulled from Evangelion and he didn't go for the intro song.
Well, no, but I don't have any.
Such a banger. Angel's Thesis.
I don't have any vocal tracks for my choices, but with so Shiro Sagisu, the composer for this, he obviously did the original music for Evangelion, and what he did was he really took a lot of those and he remastered them and recomposed them into more modern style tracks for the Rebuild films. Yeah. So, like, if you like the older music from Evangelion and you haven't seen the Rebuild films, definitely watch them. One, the animation quality is incredible, but the music is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. Story, that's a different conversation.
Well, no, like, honestly, like, if you just watch, like, 1 and 2, you don't really need to see the other one. Right. All right, Stephen.
All right, I shall set the scene. So imagine that for centuries, your people have been taught that these other creatures are wrong. And then you find
I know where this is going.
That an outcast has been fraternizing with one of these creatures, and they are trying to convince you that what they're doing is good.
One of the best tracks.
Which Avatar song is this?
This is not Avatar.
Oh, what?
This whole soundtrack's just incredible.
I had a hard time choosing which one to pick from this.
Yeah.
All right, so that is Romantic Flight from How to Train Your Dragon.
Which is not the one I thought you were going to pick.
What did you think I was going to go?
I thought you were going to pick Test Flight.
So
he's much more romantic than that, Andrew, clearly.
So if I showed you my little notebook where I was making the notes on this.
It's all How to Train Your Dragon track.
Just every one of them.
If you look there, you can see I wrote Test Drive and then I wrote Romantic Flight under it.
Yeah.
Because I went from Test Drive to
Which
Romantic
this
Flight.
I actually really like this one too because you have like a lot of like the playful strings in there, and
Well, it's such a because the concept here of Romantic Flight is it's Hiccup and Astrid and it's romantic. It's the romance.
It's
of
the
flight.
romance of flight.
This is the first moment that she's ever touched the clouds,
Yeah.
and they do that big sweep up off the ocean when once she apologizes and Toothless stops being.
it's toothless.
Jerk. Oh, no, we need her to like us. What are you doing, you miserable reptile? But they break through the cloud cover as like sunset's happening. So when they hit the top of the clouds, it's dark.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's such a beautiful carrying tune.
It really is
In the sky, essentially.
especially because it is twofold. Obviously, you have the budding romance between Astrid and Hiccup, but then you really do have like the romance of flight of being able to touch the clouds for the first time and see the world a different way than what you've been able to see it as.
Well, it's ultimately it's such a turn for Astrid's character in general, not just from the Hiccup aspect, because like she becomes a dragon rider later.
Yeah.
It's like she also gets to experience this on her own, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly, I mean, we've talked about it on the show. I love this film entirely,
But the music is what
mostly
carries
because of
it.
the music.
Yeah.
Like I had to debate between like This Is Burke. I had to debate between it's either Wounded Dragon or Down Dragon, but it's the bit when he's approaching Toothless and Toothless opens his eyes and just that like that super mystery going on.
Yeah.
And then Test Drive and this. So like that was probably the hardest debate I had today was like I can't just put like the whole sound. My whole list could just be the soundtrack and they'd just be like, what is wrong with you? We need these people to like you.
That would have been pretty funny, actually. Every time we came back to Steven, it's just another track. Anyways, here's track number 3. Just goes in order.
Just the whole song.
That would be
because I mean,
hilarious.
ultimately the actual soundtrack for that movie is so brilliantly done by John Powell, where like the first introduction to like This Is Burke has basically every key piece of leitmotif for every character in it.
Yeah. Yep.
Creating the town, and then as you go, you pull out each of those individual strings.
Yep.
And then like Test Drive finally puts Hiccups and Toothless's leitmotifs together because they're actually working together to fly.
Man,
Like it's such an incredible concept expressed in music.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right, Ryan.
Okay.
Set the scene, baby.
Imagine
No.
you're walking down a road next to an empty field, right?
Okay.
What's that in the distance?
The corn?
Corn?
It's an airplane. Is it coming towards me? I think it's chasing me.
Is this North by Northwest?
Yeah. I was going to say, wow, I haven't heard this one in a long time.
heard this in forever.
Alfred Hitchcock had such a very specific feel for his
Everything.
like. Well, because I'm sure that like he had them compose this after he did the scene, and he probably like I don't know.
Well,
his
this is actually the
production.
opening of the movie. This
is it?
Yeah. I just like when you think of North by Northwest.
That's the only
it's the
sequence
only
that
scene
anybody
you really
thinks
like.
Yeah.
Stands out. No,
Such
so
a frantic song.
Bernard Herrmann does this, and the reason I like it so much is because it perfectly encapsulates the movie and the chaos and like everything that
Yeah, how
happens
it's
in
just
it and the
absolutely
tension
ridiculous.
and suspense. And it like I don't know. For me, it's since it's the opening, it's the perfect like palette setter for like what's coming up in the movie. You know what I mean?
Because especially back then and up until I think like mid 2000s or maybe late 90s when the law was you had to have all the credits at the beginning, so you had overture music.
I think it was early 90s is when that
somewhere around there. But yeah, you had to have all the credits at the beginning just for the Screen Actors Guild and all that other kind of stuff, to where you had this overture music that really set the pace for how the film was supposed to be perceived. And I think it really does a good job. Like those kind of pieces really do it justice. Yeah.
Well, again, it's, I mean, there's a bunch of other examples, but for me, that's the one, if someone was like, hey, what's an example of like an opening thing that really like just sets the stage for what's coming and is almost like if you listen to it, it like hints at what's going to happen. Like there's going to be so many twists and turns and chaos.
Well, and the same thing, like Psycho is another good example of that with like Alfred Hitchcock, where like
Vertigo too.
Yeah. Hitchcock, all of his music.
And that's just it's all about the twists and the turn.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be, at some point you think you'd learn how to be ready.
One of these.
Look, like I'm having to talk here.
I'm already set for my next one.
I'm already set
I'm
for
set
my
up
next
too.
one.
Yeah.
Do you want to just skip and Steven go?
No.
See, you can set the scene here. I can set the scene. So imagine that for centuries you've been taught that these creatures are wrong, and then you come upon. No, it's not. It's not How to Train Your Dragon.
All right, Andrew plays the same track.
It'd be amazing if he comes in and he plays How to Train Your Dragon.
All right, so imagine you have just betrayed the one you love and the galaxy that you love, along with everyone else that you've ever loved.
Either incredibly anime or Star Wars.
Am I Lando Calrissian in this situation?
So this is my favorite track of the prequel films for Star Wars.
Man, so that's a brave choice.
And Anakin has just obviously he basically has turned to the dark side. He's just murdered all the separatists out on Mustafar, the lava planet.
Yeah,
and he's finally coming to terms with kind of who he is.
Yeah,
and man, Williams with the horns here.
Oh yeah. Da, 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 da.
What I tell you, it's either anime or Star Wars. There's no in between.
Listen, leave him alone.
That's rude.
But also,
that's very rude.
Old choice book. My favorite song from the prequels, while Duel of the Fates is sitting in the corner staring at you like,
it's not his favorite.
No. I mean, like, no, I did say favorite.
Not necessarily the best.
I retract it, Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm not going to say this is the best track.
Overruled.
Out of like, I think actually Battle of Heroes or Anakin versus Obi-Wan is probably the best. I mean,
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates is really, really good.
John Williams basically said, "Oh, okay, George, you're making the prequels, and they're not going to be well executed. Well, I'm going to set my piano on fire."
I mean, that's the thing is
for all three
three movies have some of the best work that he's done.
Killer
for sure.
Like just incredibly good soundtracks, and this has such a good emotional attachment to basically Anakin as a character, because you do get this leitmotif earlier throughout his, especially in Revenge of the Sith, but it just builds up to this, obviously the big moment that everyone has been waiting for. That's a Star Wars fan, essentially, of Anakin turning into Darth Vader.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, too, like, hearing it, I can picture the scene. But before you said what it was, I knew it was Star Wars.
Yeah.
I felt like it was prequels because I was like, this doesn't sound like anything from the original trilogy.
It's definitely,
but I was trying to place what it was or when it hit or whatever. And then when you said it, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, his description sold it. Again, as soon as it hit in the horns, I was like, okay, so John Williams, Star Wars. Betrayed, so Anakin.
Yeah,
it's all come together.
He's standing on the scaffolding with all the lava and stuff around him, and then he's got a little tear coming down of his eye.
Yeah, unscripted, by the way.
Probably not.
They had the CGI that in 3 times. Anakin, stop moving.
We could put it in post, maybe. We could put a tear running down his cheek, make him seem emotional.
Oh man,
make him seem emotional after I've directed him to have no emotion ever for the last 3 years.
Who's next, me or Steven?
I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
So I'm trying not to say imagine, but it's really hard not to when you're setting a scene.
Do it. Imagine. Do the hand thing.
Imagine.
There it is. Thank you.
Magic. That it's the late 1700s.
I know where this is going.
Ugh, worst time ever.
War ravaged times, and you are running to save your love.
Oh, yeah.
You know this was going to be on here.
Oh, it had to be.
And this starts out a little slow.
It doesn't matter. It's fantastic. It's got like one more bar.
Here we go.
Man.
I mean, we could just let that run for all 6 minutes if we really wanted to.
I mean, so yeah, Promontory by Trevor Bates.
It's Trevor Jones and Randy Edelman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. From Last of the Mohicans. Yeah, man.
Daniel Day-Lewis just running down a trail.
Running down a trail in the mist.
Is that towards the end of the movie?
So the funny thing is,
it like 3/4?
It basically happens
It's
like
not-
3 or 4. The leitmotif happens a lot.
yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say the funny thing is that little bit shows up in like 6 songs in the soundtrack.
Gotcha.
But I'm fairly certain when Promontory plays is when he's running down the path that's on kind of the cliff face.
It's after the canoes, right?
Yes, it's after the canoes. So
Okay.
his love has been taken by the Iroquois.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the Huron. I can't remember who the tribe is supposed to be, but either way, taken by a rival tribe, and she's being carried down those pathways along the cliff face to where the final fight happens at the waterfall, which is just beautiful. Which again, it's one of those moments that I always have now with modern cinema where I watch something like this, which it's not that old, but it's just think about how expensive it was to fly these helicopters.
Oh yeah,
I know, right?
Nowadays, it's just like any yokel with a drone can take these shots, and it costs like
drone
$100.
technology has fixed a lot of budgets, but then they're just like, oh, we're going to put VFX in it now, and it's fine, and then they blow up the budget anyways.
But like the way
they just moved that byline somewhere else.
But like the way that this is shot, and you have like kind of that, I guess it's really kind of late evening, like as the sun's setting, mist coming up in the Blue Ridge Mountains, essentially, which is where this was shot, and as you know, Daniel Day-Lewis is just trucking it down this path, trying to catch up, and he's as he's killing the rear guard, he's picking up their muskets because you only get one shot, and using that to shoot the next guy to go get his gun. And it's just it's
Just playing hopscotch.
such an incredible scene.
So it's not. It's definitely not Last of the Mohicans, but The Patriot has another really good scene similar to that, where basically
they understood. They knew
where he's running through with hatchets, and he's just basically picking up one gun, shooting a guy, picking up another gun, shooting a guy.
Yeah.
That like then killing another guy with a hatchet, picking up his gun to shoot another guy.
Picking up his hatchet.
Yeah, it's but yeah, man,
I need to watch that movie again. It's been a long time.
It's
since
so
I've seen
good.
that one.
We should probably review it.
We probably should.
I mean, it earns its R rating.
I mean, I've been.
That's how I like it, baby. How salacious can it be? All right. For this one, not a lot of setup needed.
No?
Imagine the city's full of crime. And you're the only cure.
Is this RoboCop?
Terminator?
RoboCop.
Batman. You heard that Danny Elfman just right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the title track, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is credit roll.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. You get all the little leitmotifs in there. Oh, it's fantastic.
Man, he was having a good day.
Anyways,
Man, just like
I love this song. This is probably my favorite Danny Elfman song.
I mean, it's fantastic.
It's a fantastic
Because
song.
there's a lot of reasons. Number one, it's just a banger. But I love
you can see
how many different places he goes. In like that was like 45 seconds. You know.
Well, and the thing that I like about this too is you can listen to it and you can see like the shot going down the alleyway.
Yeah,
for
you're
sure.
on that flight roller coaster right there.
And you see the shadow.
Oh yeah.
But then every motif and every section of that part right there is so different from the last, but it all feels like Batman.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I mean? It's got that feeling. And like the other fun fact about this song or this soundtrack in general is that Tim Burton wanted Danny Elfman to do the tracks or the soundtrack for Batman, and Warner Brothers was like, absolutely not, because the only thing Elfman had done before this was he was in the band Oingo Boingo, and then he did Pee-wee's Big Adventure with which Tim Burton directed. And that's got like a crazy madcap score
all over the place,
right?
yeah.
And so that was the only point of reference they had was like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Absolutely, I'll let this man touch
Pee-wee's
Batman.
Big Adventure is actually a great film.
It's a really good film.
It's got a really good score too, if you like really listen to what he's
Yeah.
doing in it. But like Warner Brothers was like, absolutely not. And so, Tim Burton goes back and forth and he's like, I'm not doing this without Danny Elfman doing the thing. And they're like, no. And so the only way he was able to convince him is he got Danny to like make this the opening track, and he played it for him. And they were like,
He like walked into the executive suite. All right, so Danny Elfman's out. I found a dude whose name you don't know, but let me play you a little piece of his so you can see what it's like. They're like, oh, we love this. You need to hire him. Okay,
It's
his
Elfie
name is Danny
Danman.
Elfman.
Elfie Danman's here. But yeah, I love that backstory too, that Danny Elfman's just sitting on this banger of a song going like, I could do this. This could be great. And then like, they're like, nah, man, we got Prince coming on. He's going to do some tracks And so, yeah, I really like too, cause like they pull a lot of the, it's mostly the same theme for the animated series. It's like there's a couple of tweaks, but it's like it's just so, to me, that's Batman.
This is Well, I like how you picked some really iconic DC pieces.
Yeah,
here because like Superman and Batman have probably two of the best known.
Well, it's because of Danny Elfman and John Williams.
It is. It is. I mean, they had some of the best composers, wheelhouse doing these things. But of course, at the time, Danny Elfman probably wasn't known. Obviously,
but then he made his name from this.
Yeah,
sure.
Oh, man.
But to your point, like superhero, or at least movies back then, you had a theme song attached to that hero that was like, it was an earworm. You could hear it in your head. Now, we what's
know
Loki's theme? Anybody have,
pretty much the only thing that we know is essentially the Avengers.
It's Alan Silvestri did that.
And Alan Silvestri, go figure, he's a great composer.
Come on, now you got Spider-Man's theme.
Well, Spider-Man.
Actually, Danny Elfman did the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man theme, and it's pretty good too.
Yeah.
And like when they played it in the newest one, No Way Home. When they play it, when Toby hits the screen, I was like, "Oh, Danny Elfman!"
It's the only good music. In
well, it stands out because you're like, there's that song. But I don't know. I feel like
Danny Elfman was a good pull here.
Yeah. Like I listened to I had a bunch of others on my list here or whatever, but like it felt like to me like that was the most. Because it represented such a wide range of sounds in a short period of time. And it, again, reminded me of like old superhero movies where like it just sounds iconic to them.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to set the scene here.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
You have just witnessed your master or your teacher pass away.
Okay.
You are now speaking to the president of a country.
It's like an algebra teacher? Or what
and you are doing your best to explain to him how he lived.
Oh, this is Last Samurai.
So anyway, he's a pretty cool guy.
Wow, Ryan.
So this is the last track of the soundtrack, and there's something. I mean, A Small Measure of Peace is the name of the track
For the Last Samurai.
Yeah. And
I knew what it was.
I know, but the listener at home might be like,
I
the last track of what?
I already told him.
So good.
But I love just how it builds to an emotional moment, but it doesn't like speed its way to get there.
Yeah.
It's not rushed at all.
Yeah.
This is very much so a whole life played out over time.
This is so different than what Hans Zimmer's other stuff he's done, like he did, Gladiator.
Every time this comes up, I'm like, oh yeah, Hans Zimmer did it. We said in the review of this film, we're like, oh yeah, this is Hans Zimmer, because it just doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like him. Like what I expect when I see Hans Zimmer.
He's actually pretty versatile, though. Like when you look at a lot of his.
Well, and I think the reason why people think of Hans Zimmer not doing something like this is because of Batman and The Dark Knight and Inception. And he had a couple of those films that all had the blah kind of stuff in it.
So Inception and Inception and Inception.
Well, I mean, and Dark Knight definitely has that in there
has
too.
A few of them
there. Dark Knight Rises, that kind of stuff. But it's one of those where he's one of those composers where I think he got typecast into that style, where a lot of his earlier stuff is much more like emotional, and I'm not saying his newer stuff is bad by any means. Like he has some incredible soundtracks, but something about the Last Samurai soundtrack for me just really hits. Not because I just love the movie, but it's just such an emotional track.
Yeah,
like all of them, but that one particular, Small Measure of Peace, is definitely one that I always go back to whenever I want to listen to just something from that soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a good track.
All right, so we're gonna get weird with this one.
Okay.
So this is, to set the scene, this is the West is shrinking, right? The big folklore names are starting to disappear and fade, and you're finding out that some of your idols aren't who you thought they were. Right?
Fievel goes west.
Definitely.
I don't know what this one is.
I'm drawing a blank.
If either of you have seen this movie, I'll be shocked.
It's great music, though.
It's fantastic.
Fievel goes east.
I love that violin.
Oh, it's so good. It's cheating. It's just like a violin, a cello, and a piano.
Yeah.
It's just the cheat sequence for how do you make emotional music. So that
is the Konami code for musical scores.
So that is
cello, violin, piano.
The brilliantly named Song for Bob from the movie The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
I have seen this. It's been probably when it came out.
Probably when it came out, yeah. So this is by Nick Cave and Warren Ellis. So this is
Nick Cave from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah, so this is just a fantastic. I listen to this all the time when I just want to just let it mellow and let it roll.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Because this is the piece. So Song for Bob is Robert Ford. So he throughout the movie, because it's a Western, but it's not what you would think of as a Western. Because it's very much so he wants to join Jesse James's gang while they're doing bank robberies and train heists and stuff. And his brother is in the gang, and he idolizes his brother. He idolizes Jesse James because he's the Wild West folklorish type hero, rob from the rich kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, he finally starts to get accepted into this, and he's learning that Jesse James is not who he thought he was, and it's the crushing of his idol.
Yeah.
So he ultimately ends up killing him, shooting him literally in the back, actual real life, shoots him in the back kind of thing, for a bounty because there's not really money to be made in what they're doing. It's just kind of this flailing struggle.
Yeah.
And then so the movie, it feels like that's where the movie would end, but it keeps going into how Charlie and Robert Ford's lives just kind of fall apart after this, because they're the people associated with killing the folklore hero. So people, once they've heard the story, they don't like them anymore. And they're just kind of they don't get what they thought they were going to get out of it. So it's this incredibly melancholy, just trailing song. Again, this is another long, 6 minutes long song.
Right.
It just
keeps going.
Goes and goes and builds and builds. Oh.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, so do we want to talk about...
You got anything left? No? Nothing else?
I can, yeah.
I mean, well, fair and fair alike. We'll let you get one last shot in here. You weren't ready for this.
I was not.
That's why I did it to him. That's why I did it to him.
Ha ha!
Gotta keep you on your toes.
He's the one that's trying to wrap up.
Here's the setup.
I could talk about soundtracks all night.
I could do another. I mean,
here's the setup. You're a muscle boy and you got not a lot of brains.
One Punch Man?
Yeah. All three of us are running in place. You can't see it at home.
True classic.
Oh yeah.
I love that synth. Just rise in there.
See, aren't we glad we did one more so we go out on Rocky?
Sure, it's a classic.
Oh, man.
Bill Conti obviously did the music on that one. And I love it because like it's very 70s, but it also almost is timeless.
It basically is timeless. There's almost no way that you can't get hyped from that.
I know. If you're not hyped right now, go to the doctor immediately.
Because it really does a fantastic job of just, I mean, it's the first montage, like really popular montage that you get out of the film.
Yeah, and it's probably, I can't like speak for every movie ever, but it's probably one of the first movies to really lean into the montage and the song at the same. It's like a little mini music video in the middle of the movie.
It's like the prototype sports movie that sports movies became.
Yeah.
From the moment that movie was released, every other person who was like, I have a sports movie idea. We're gonna do the Rocky thing. We have like a really cool banger song, and we do training.
What's your montage?
Yeah.
Where's it hit in the film? It's got to be before the front half, right? It's the back half. The
second actor bust, baby.
Yeah, it's
such a cool song too because it's like it does, hit those themes of like it's inspiring, it's the underdog, and it just makes you want to go run outside in the cold.
Just see him. It seems hitting that frozen meat.
I was just about to say, go get in the freezer, punch
running
the
up and down some stairs.
Break the ribs.
Yeah. I love Rocky, and I love the soundtrack.
I mean, the first movie is phenomenal.
Oh, the music makes in a lot of ways makes the Rocky franchise, stuff like Eye of the Tiger.
Because they do that theme like on piano, slow at one point.
Yeah.
They come back to it so many times, but like when it hits the big fanfare, it's just
then he's up on the steps with his arms up.
It's great. So not to be basic, but it's just a classic track.
There's nothing wrong with that track.
No, I love it so much.
All right, well, because Ryan says that we have to finish the episode.
He'll join.
I'll be the bad guy.
He wants us to save stuff maybe for another.
Maybe we'll have another episode.
Maybe we'll have another episode.
And that one we won't invite Andrew. We'll just talk about soundtracks.
Ryan, we have to talk.
Steven, so here's track 6 on how to train your track. No, this is a mistake.
But before we go, we have to talk about our Patreon because that is what we do.
Yeah.
For $1 a month, you can get access to all of our bonus content, bonus episodes, commentaries,
Patreon
picks polls.
You can help determine what we're going to review. And in fact, when this episode
we have one
releases,
happening right now.
Right now, it's up there. If you are in at the $1 tier or higher, not only does your money go to help support the show, pay our hosting fees, keep the lights on, it also can help dictate what we review.
Yeah, so right now we are doing, it is comedic heist films.
Yes.
And so we have the Pink Panther Strikes Again, Ocean's 11, Snatch, The Fantastic Mr. Fox, and Tower Heist.
Yep.
All up for grabs, excuse me.
Grab them now while they're hot. Yeah, so for you vote, we do the episode, and patrons get early access to it before it hits the main feed. So yeah, you can literally change the course of our show and determine what we review.
Change the course of history.
Patrons get early access to hear that episode before it hits the main feed. But I tell you what I want to see is I want to see people voting and making it a tie across the board because I want to review them all.
That would be wild.
That would be crazy.
Oh, man.
Also, we have a Discord. We have a lot of fun over there.
Yep.
Feel free to join us over
Join,
there.
hang out.
Yeah, we have Facebook
check
and
us out on
Instagram if you want to
socials.
check us out on social.
That'd be great.
If you like what you've heard and you want to listen to more episodes, you can go to spoilersintendedpodcast.com. We got all our previous episodes. The links to all that stuff's there.
Yep. I was going to do the whole, as always, follow us on social, leave us a review whenever you're listening now, and share us with a friend, but you already did that.
I did.
So I just did it again.
You just did it again.
Yeah, so that does sound like all the time we have. Yeah. And until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steven.
And every spoiler was intended.